There comes a time when your faith is tested beyond what seems bearable. You look around and nothing seems to move, nothing seems to change. You pray, you wait, and still the evidence looks the same. But I came to tell you today, in 7 days everything can change. Not because of time itself, but because faith transforms the invisible into the visible. 7 days is a divine pattern. It's not a countdown of hours. It's a spiritual cycle of completion. In 7 days, God created the heavens and the earth. But the true creation wasn't about forming matter, it was about forming awareness. When your awareness aligns with the finished work, the outer world must obey the inner vision. You may say, but I've waited for months, for years. How can everything change in just 7 days? My friend, it changes the moment you change your assumption. It takes one decision, one shift to open the floodgates of divine favor. The 7 days are not for God to work. They are for you to believe completely that the work is already done. For the next 7 days, live as though your desire has already manifested. Walk, speak, and feel as one who already possesses it. When doubt whispers, answer it with faith. When fear rises, silence it with gratitude. The miracle you are waiting for is not coming from the outside. It is unfolding through your belief. You see, giving up is easy when the evidence contradicts your dream. But the moment you decide not to give up, you step into a higher law, the law of faith. The outer world must bend to the inner conviction of one who refuses to surrender. The unseen forces begin to align in your favor. Doors that were closed start to open. People begin to appear. Opportunities unfold, and situations rearrange themselves in ways that defy logic. Don't look for signs of change. Be the sign. Speak as though it is done. Feel as though it is real. Live as though you've already received it. That feeling, that inner knowing, is your prayer in action. And when your inner speech is consistent with your desired end, the universe must reflect it. Maybe you've been in a season of waiting, of pain, of confusion. But listen carefully. Your waiting is over when your believing begins. The moment you surrender the struggle and rest in the assurance of God's promise, change starts moving toward you with divine speed. So hold on. Don't give up. You are closer than you think. What seems delayed is not denied. It's aligning. Your faith has already prepared the way. In 7 days, not 7 ordinary days, but 7 days of unwavering belief, you will see evidence of the shift. Not because time works miracles, but because faith transcends time. Walk in that awareness. Speak your victory now. Rejoice as if it's done, because it is done. The change you've been praying for is already finished in the unseen. Now it's only unfolding before your eyes. So don't give up. In these next 7 days, choose faith over fear, persistence over doubt, gratitude over complaint. Watch as the invisible hand of God turns everything around for your good. Because when you believe, truly believe, God doesn't need years, He only needs your yes. And in 7 days, your yes can change everything. Faith is not a wish, nor is it a passive hope that something might happen someday. Faith is the living awareness that what you have believed within already exists in a higher realm of reality, waiting only for your recognition to appear. You are not waiting for change to arrive, you are conceiving it in the womb of your imagination. Everything you see around you today is the result of a form of belief, something you once accepted as true about yourself or your world. The outer life you live is the reflection of your inner assumptions. Most people live as though the outer world has authority over their destiny, as if circumstances decide who they can become or what they can achieve. But faith reverses that order. Faith declares that the inner world governs the outer. What you hold as truth in your consciousness becomes the pattern the world must follow. Faith is the invisible cause, and your reality is the visible effect. When you understand this, you stop chasing outcomes and begin cultivating belief. You realize that your job is not to make things happen, but to awaken to the truth that they are already complete in God's realm. To believe is to receive inwardly before it is seen outwardly. The moment you accept something as true in your inner being, creation begins its silent work. The world around you starts to bend, shift, and rearrange itself to mirror your inner conviction. That is why faith is described as the evidence of things not seen. It is not blind belief, it is spiritual perception. It sees beyond appearances and holds fast to the invisible reality until it becomes visible. Faith does not struggle or strain, it rests in certainty. It knows that every seed contains its harvest. The same way a seed planted in soil already carries within it the blueprint of the tree, your belief carries within it the structure of the manifestation. You do not need to know how it will unfold, you only need to maintain the inner picture of completion. Every time you imagine the end and feel it real, you water the seed of faith, and life itself conspires to bring it forth. This is why waiting in fear, doubt, or anxiety blocks manifestation. When you wait, you imply separation between you and what you desire. When you conceive, you affirm unity. You and your desire are one. Faith collapses the distance between the unseen and the seen. It declares it is done and rests in that assurance. So if you wish to change your life, begin not with action but with awareness. Ask yourself, what am I believing right now? Because that belief is shaping the evidence that will soon appear. Faith does not create out of nothing. It reveals what has always been true but unseen. The moment you align your inner vision with your divine expectation, the outer world must bow to it. Everything begins within. What you believe within becomes the reality without. For faith is not waiting for change, faith is the very act of conceiving it. Transformation is not a matter of time, it is a matter of consciousness. Many believe that change takes months or years, but true transformation happens in a moment of deep inner alignment. When your mind, heart, and spirit agree on one reality, the outer world has no choice but to conform to it. The 7 days are not about counting hours or dates. They symbolize stages of inner alignment, the divine process through which the invisible becomes visible. Each day represents a deepening of awareness, a cleansing of doubt, and a renewal of vision. The idea of 7 days is sacred because it mirrors the pattern of divine completion. In spiritual symbolism, 7 represents wholeness, the cycle from conception to manifestation. Yet these 7 days do not need to be literal. They are symbolic of your journey from confusion to clarity, from fear to faith, from struggle to surrender. When your inner world becomes aligned with your divine identity, change happens swiftly. sometimes instantly. It is not that the universe suddenly moves faster. It is that you have finally stopped resisting the flow of what has already been prepared for you. Each of the 7 days can be seen as a stage of alignment. The first day begins with awareness, realizing that all creation begins within you. The second day brings separation, distinguishing truth from illusion, faith from fear. The third day is affirmation, declaring what is true despite appearances. The fourth day is rest, allowing divine order to take its course without interference. The fifth day is gratitude, giving thanks before seeing the evidence. The sixth day is embodiment, walking as if it is already done. And the seventh day is fulfillment, the outer manifestation of your inner conviction. This cycle is not about doing more, but becoming still enough to see clearly. When you stop fighting the outer conditions and turn inward, you begin to experience a shift. Old patterns lose their power. Limiting beliefs dissolve. You begin to feel a peace that doesn't depend on what's happening around you. That peace is the signal of alignment. It means that your heart and mind are now one with divine intention. Many people pray for change but remain inwardly divided. They say they believe, yet they worry, doubt, and speak against what they claim to expect. Such inner conflict delays the manifestation. But when your thoughts, emotions, and expectations move in harmony, when you truly believe the end is already accomplished, everything begins to unfold with divine precision. In these 7 symbolic days, you are not waiting for God to act. You are aligning yourself with what God has already finished. The moment your inner world agrees with the promise, time becomes irrelevant. Miracles are not delayed by divine hesitation, but by human resistance. Alignment removes that resistance and allows the flow of divine power to manifest effortlessly. So do not count the days, make the days count. Use each moment to bring your awareness back to truth. Transformation doesn't come by watching the clock, but by awakening to the eternal now. 7 days of alignment can do what 7 years of effort cannot, because alignment is not about time, it is about consciousness. Imagination is not fantasy, it is creation in its purest form. It is the womb from which every miracle is born. Before anything can exist in the outer world, it must first be conceived in the inner world of thought and feeling. Everything that has ever been made, every invention, discovery, or transformation began as an image held in someone's imagination. The visible world is nothing more than imagination made visible. When you understand this, you stop waiting for miracles and begin to give birth to them. What you consistently see and feel within yourself must eventually take form without, for imagination is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. Every time you imagine yourself as healed, prosperous, loved, or free, and feel it as true, you are shaping the unseen substance of reality. You are writing the script that life must play out. The world does not respond to your wishes, it responds to your inner conviction. When your inner picture becomes vivid enough, when it feels real enough, the external world has no choice but to reflect it. Most people use their imagination unconsciously. They imagine what they fear, replay painful memories, and expect disappointment. Then they call it reality. But what they call reality is simply imagination that has been accepted as truth. The key to transformation lies in mastering this creative power, in choosing consciously what you will see and feel inwardly. Imagination is like fertile soil. It does not question the seed. It simply brings forth whatever is planted. If you plant images of faith, love, and abundance, the harvest must mirror your seed. When you imagine something with feeling, you awaken divine creative energy within you. Feeling is the language of the subconscious, and the subconscious is the doorway to manifestation. Thought alone is not enough. It must be saturated with emotion, conviction, and faith. When your imagination is charged with feeling, it moves from wishful thinking to creative knowing. You begin to sense that what you are imagining already exists in another dimension of reality, waiting only for your acceptance to appear here and now. Miracles are not exceptions to the natural order, they are expressions of higher law. When you imagine with faith, you align yourself with that higher law, the law of creation. The unseen realm begins to organize the visible world to match your vision. People, places, and opportunities start to shift. Circumstances rearrange themselves with a precision that defies logic. To the mind of reason, it looks miraculous, but to the mind of faith, it is simply the natural outcome of divine imagination. So guard your inner vision carefully. Do not use imagination to dwell on lack, fear, or failure. Use it to create the world you wish to live in. See yourself as you desire to be and feel it as if it were already true. Hold that image steadily until it becomes your dominant state of consciousness. Then, without effort, life will mirror it. The outer world is only the echo of your inner song. Imagination is the womb of miracles, and every miracle you will ever experience is first born in the secret place within you. There is a sacred moment in every journey when the night seems darkest, the path feels longest, and faith feels weakest. It is the point where everything within you wants to surrender, to give up, to let go of the promise, to believe that nothing will ever change. But this moment of pressure is not the end, it is the threshold. The greatest pressure always comes before manifestation because the old reality is breaking apart and the new one is about to be born. You are standing between endings and beginnings, between what was and what is about to be. That tension is not punishment, it is preparation. Just before dawn, the sky is at its darkest. The silence feels endless, yet within that stillness, the first light is gathering strength. In the same way, when your faith is tested, when nothing seems to work, when doors remain closed, that is the sign that something unseen is shifting. The energy that once held you back is losing its grip, and the divine plan is taking shape behind the veil. You may not see it yet, but it is closer than you think. This is why you must not give up before the dawn. The moment you give up, you step out of alignment with what was about to appear. You interrupt the process that was nearly complete. Imagine a seed underground. For days, weeks, perhaps months, it remains unseen. Then, just before it breaks through the soil, it experiences its greatest resistance. It must push against the weight of the earth to reach the light. That final push is the hardest, but it is also the most necessary. So it is with your faith. The pressure you feel is not a sign that it's over. It's a sign that breakthrough is near. Keep your inner vision alive when the evidence seems silent. Keep speaking words of faith when fear whispers otherwise. Keep believing in the promise when nothing around you validates it. The universe is moved not by your struggle, but by your certainty. Your job is not to make the dawn arrive. Your job is to remain awake to it, to hold faith when it's hardest to see. Understand that divine timing is never late. The waiting is not wasted. Every delay is refining your faith, purifying your intention, and strengthening your spiritual muscles. The delay is teaching you to trust the unseen and to live beyond appearances. When you persist in faith, even through disappointment, you prove that your belief is not dependent on circumstances. That kind of faith cannot fail, for it is rooted in divine law. So breathe deeply, even in the darkness. Speak light into your own soul. Tell yourself, the dawn is coming, because it is, and when it comes, it will not come gradually. It will burst forth suddenly, brilliantly, completely. The night cannot hold back the morning, and your situation cannot resist divine order. Don't give up before the dawn, because the very moment you feel you can't go on is often the moment just before everything changes. Words are not merely sounds, they are forces of creation. Every word you speak carries a vibration, a seed that takes root in the unseen realm and produces fruit in your visible world. You may not see its effect immediately, but every declaration is a command to the universe, a spiritual decree shaping the course of your reality. When you speak as though it is done, you are not pretending, you are aligning your speech with divine truth. For in the higher realm of spirit, creation is already finished. From the beginning of time, creation has responded to the spoken word. Let there be light was not a request, but a decree, and light appeared. The same creative power that formed worlds lives within you, waiting for expression through your words. When you speak faith, you activate divine ardor. When you speak fear or doubt, you disrupt it. Your tongue is the rudder of your life. It steers you toward fulfillment or frustration. Every word you utter is either affirming your destiny or delaying it. To speak as though it is done is to recognize that what you desire already exists in the unseen. You are not asking God to create something new. You are declaring what already is. You are not begging for the promise, you are claiming it. The end is already written, you are simply agreeing with it through your words. When you say, I am healed, even if the body feels weak, you are aligning with the truth of divine wholeness. When you declare, I am provided for, even if your resources look small, you are speaking from the reality where abundance already exists. Words infused with conviction shape your state of being. When you consistently affirm your desired end, you begin to feel it as true. That feeling is faith made tangible. It magnetizes the unseen forces that bring your words to life. You are not trying to make something happen. You are speaking from the awareness that it already has. The universe simply mirrors the vibration of your inner declaration. Be mindful then of idle or negative speech. Every complaint, every word of lack is a seed that will produce after its kind. The more you talk about what you don't want, the more you empower it. But when your words consistently reflect your desired reality, you become the living expression of divine creation. Your speech becomes prayer. Your conversation becomes prophecy, and your declarations become destiny. So speak boldly, not timidly. Speak from the end, not the middle. Speak life, not limitation. Say it is done, and mean it. Even if your senses deny it, let your spirit affirm it. Words spoken in faith carry authority. They call forth what already exists in the eternal. Creation is finished. It is complete. Your task is simply to declare what is already true, until the world around you reflects it. Speak as though it is done, for your words are not waiting for evidence, they are creating it. You are not separated from divine power. You are its instrument, its vessel, its living expression. God is not distant, waiting somewhere beyond the clouds to intervene in your circumstances. God is the life that breathes through you, the intelligence that thinks through you, the love that feels through you. The same creative force that spoke the universe into existence dwells within your consciousness, waiting to be revealed through your awareness. When your awareness shifts, everything in your life begins to move in response. Miracles are not accidents, they are expressions of alignment. When your inner state matches the divine pattern, the miraculous becomes natural. You do not need to beg for God's favor, you need to awaken to it. The moment you realize that the presence is already within you, operating as you, the struggle ends. You stop searching outside and begin living from within. This inner awakening is the true miracle. Every event, every circumstance, every relationship in your life is a mirror of your awareness. If you feel lack, you will see lack reflected. If you dwell in peace, peace will surround you. The world cannot give you what you are unwilling to acknowledge within yourself. You are not waiting for life to change. Life is waiting for you to become aware of who you truly are, a channel of divine expression. When you change your inner conversation, your outer reality cannot remain the same. A window does not create light, it simply allows light to shine through. If the window is clean, light flows freely. If it is covered with dust or shadows, the light is still there, only blocked from view. In the same way, your awareness is the window through which divine power flows. Doubt, fear, and unworthiness are the dust that clouds the window. But the light of God has never stopped shining. The moment you cleanse your awareness, by believing in your divine identity, by affirming love, peace, and faith, that light rushes in and transforms everything it touches. When you understand that God expresses through your awareness, you take responsibility for your state of being. You no longer blame circumstances or people. You realize that the outer world is an echo of your inner vibration. You stop pleading for a miracle and begin being the miracle. You walk with the quiet confidence that wherever you go, divine favor goes with you because it flows through you. This is the secret to transformation, not effort, but embodiment. The more you live from the awareness of your divine connection, the more effortlessly life aligns itself around you. The impossible becomes possible, not because you force it, but because you have become one with the source of all creation. You are the channel of the miracle. God's power does not move from afar. It moves through your faith, your words, your imagination, your awareness. When you shift inwardly, everything must shift outwardly. The moment you awaken to that truth, the miracle you seek is no longer something you wait for. It is something you live from. Every word of this message has been a reminder that divine transformation begins within you. Faith, imagination, alignment, and awareness are not separate from God's power. They are the instruments through which God moves. When you believe, you create. When you imagine, you give birth to miracles. When you align your heart with truth, the impossible becomes natural. And when you understand that God expresses through your awareness, you realize that you were never waiting for favor. Favor was waiting for you to awaken. In these 7 days of spiritual awakening, you are not chasing a miracle, you are becoming it. You are learning that what you see inwardly will soon appear outwardly. You are discovering that faith does not beg for change. It declares that change is already finished. You are remembering that darkness is never the end, but the sign that dawn is near. So hold on to your vision, speak life into your future, refuse to give up before the blessing unfolds, walk as if everything you desire is already yours, because in the unseen realm, it already is. The God who began the work within you is completing it through your awareness, your words, your faith, and your surrender. Surrender. Everything is aligning. The shift is already in motion. You are standing on holy ground, the threshold of your own transformation. Believe it, feel it, and live from it. Thank you for listening, for believing, and for daring to awaken the divine within you. May your faith rise higher, your vision grow clearer, and may you witness in these coming days that God truly can change everything for you. So, until next time, be well. Beloved, there comes a moment in every life when heaven whispers, now. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. The atmosphere around you has shifted. The currents of divine movement are no longer waiting for your permission, they are flowing in your direction. What you once prayed for in tears is being arranged in your favor with precision. The move of God has begun. You may not see it yet with your natural eyes, but deep within something is stirring. The invisible hand of grace is positioning people, places, and circumstances to honor the faith you've held in silence. Every closed door was not rejection, it was redirection. Every season of stillness was the womb of your new beginning. God is not coming. He has already moved. The evidence of his movement begins in your awareness. When you accept within yourself that everything is working for your good, you join the current of divine favor. What was once an obstacle becomes a bridge. What was once loss transforms into lesson. The law of the Spirit is simple. What you accept as true within must appear without. So receive this now, not as a wish, not as a hope, but as a settled reality. You are favored. You are chosen. You are the vessel through which God's movement expresses itself. Every limitation that once defined you is dissolving. The unseen power of divine intention is rewriting your story. The move of God is not something happening to you. It is something unfolding through you. Pause for a moment and feel it. The stillness in your spirit is confirmation that heaven has already answered. The joy that rises within you is not imagination, it is evidence. When your inner world aligns with divine truth, the outer world has no choice but to mirror it. You are stepping into divine timing. You are entering the flow where effort ends and alignment begins. The delay was only the gathering of strength. The silence was the preparation for your sound. The darkness was the canvas for the light now bursting forth in you. So lift your head. Expect good news. Walk as one who already possesses the promise. Speak as one whose words are charged with divine authority. For when you declare that everything is working in your favor, you are not making a request. You are revealing what heaven has already decreed. This is your confirmation. The move of God has begun. Not tomorrow, not next year, but now. Receive it in faith. Receive it in gratitude. Receive it in stillness. Everything you have walked through was leading you to this moment, a moment of divine favor, divine order, divine manifestation. The universe has heard your faith. Heaven has answered your cry. Receive it now. The divine shift has already begun. Whether you sense it or not, something sacred and unseen is working quietly on your behalf. The invisible hand of God is rearranging the pieces of your life, aligning every detail, every encounter, every circumstance in perfect harmony with your destiny. What once looked like chaos was never disorder. It was divine choreography. You may have felt delays, detours, and disappointments, but all of them were a part of the greater movement of heaven that has now entered a season of manifestation. There are moments when it seems as though nothing is happening, when your prayers echo in silence and your faith feels like it's standing still. Yet even then, God is working behind the curtain of your awareness. The shift is never loud. It begins in the quiet spaces of your soul, in the unseen realm where faith gives birth to reality. You may not notice the transformation at first because the move of God often starts small, like the first light of dawn that slowly overtakes the darkness. This divine shift is not about striving or chasing, it's about alignment. It's about coming into harmony with the truth that you are already within the flow of God's favor. The unseen hand does not struggle to bless you, it simply arranges the path so that what is meant for you finds its way with ease. The opportunities that seemed lost, the relationships that seemed broken, the seasons that seemed wasted, all are being rewoven into something meaningful. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned. Think of how seeds grow beneath the soil. For a time, there is no evidence of life above the surface. Yet everything essential is happening below. Roots are forming, strength is being built, and potential is awakening. That's how divine movement works. Just because you cannot see it does not mean it is not real. In truth, the unseen is often more powerful than the visible. The shift begins internally, through belief, through acceptance, through quiet confidence that all things are working together for your good. You are not waiting for God to begin, He has already begun. The moment you believed, the moment you chose to trust even when you didn't understand, something shifted. Every thought of faith, every word spoken in gratitude, every moment of surrender added momentum to the unseen current moving in your favor. The hand of God is not idle, it is active, adjusting timelines, aligning hearts, opening doors you cannot yet see. Soon what has been working in secret will become visible. The conversations you need, the connections you've prayed for, the opportunities designed just for you, they will unfold naturally because they have been divinely arranged. Your only task is to remain still in trust, to live as if the miracle has already happened. When you rest in this knowing, peace becomes your confirmation. The divine shift is not coming, it is here, and it is moving every detail of your life. toward the fulfillment of divine purpose. Everything that appears in your life is first conceived within. The outer world is a mirror, faithfully reflecting the images, emotions, and beliefs you nurture in the hidden chambers of your mind. The inner vision creates the outer reality. What you accept as true in faith must one day take form. Your circumstances are not random, they are the visible expression of your invisible convictions. The moment you see clearly within, your world begins to reorganize itself to match that inner sight. The divine process of creation always begins in the unseen. Every dream, every answered prayer, every breakthrough is first born in imagination, through the quiet conviction that what you desire already exists in spirit. Faith is not merely hoping for something, it is perceiving it inwardly until it becomes undeniable. When your inner awareness accepts a truth so completely that it feels real, creation begins its sacred work of reflection. The world outside bends to the pattern you hold within. If you look around and see limitation, you are only witnessing the residue of old beliefs. You are never stuck. You are simply observing yesterday's vision. But when you dare to shift the image within, to see abundance instead of lack, healing instead of pain, victory instead of defeat, you set in motion a new cycle of manifestation. The universe cannot resist the pull of a focused mind. The unseen power that governs all things responds to the vibration of certainty. Your inner acceptance is the birthplace of divine manifestation. This means that nothing new can emerge in your life until it has first been welcomed in your imagination. To receive something spiritually is to claim it inwardly before evidence appears. It is to live from the end, to think, feel, and act as though what you desire is already accomplished. This inner alignment invites the outer world to conform. The moment you stop doubting and start dwelling in the feeling of the answered prayer, you shift realities. The greatest secret of faith is emotional agreement. When your emotions and thoughts unite in harmony, creation is inevitable. That's why doubt delays and fear distorts. They divide your energy. But when you hold a single, unwavering image of good, when you feel gratitude before the blessing arrives, you open the door for divine power to flow without resistance. The invisible becomes visible because you have made it real within yourself. Understand this deeply. You are not waiting on circumstances to change. Circumstances are waiting on you to see differently. The kingdom of God is within you. It is the realm of perfect creation where every possibility already exists. Your task is not to force or struggle, but to envision, to believe, and to emotionally dwell in the outcome you desire. Soon the world around you will echo the song of your inner vision. People will call it coincidence, but you will know it was faith shaping reality. The outer world is nothing more than the canvas, and your imagination is the brush, guided by divine power. What you hold in faith within must appear without, for God always fulfills the image conceived in the heart that dares to believe. You are standing in a season of favor. This is not just another moment in time, it is a divine intersection where everything that once seemed delayed or denied is being transformed into evidence of God's perfect timing. The struggles, the waiting, the unanswered prayers, they were not punishments but preparations. Every disappointment was shaping your character, refining your faith, and aligning you for what could not come before its appointed hour. What felt like stagnation was divine strategy. Heaven was preparing you for release. Favor does not always announce itself with noise. It often comes quietly after a long silence. You may have endured seasons where doors refuse to open, where your efforts seemed fruitless, and where the promises of God felt distant. Yet in those moments, something sacred was happening within you. You were being strengthened to carry what is now being released. God does not withhold to punish, He withholds to protect and prepare. If it had come earlier, you might not have had the capacity to sustain it. But now you are ready. The season you are stepping into carries grace that is no longer delayed. What was once resisted will now flow freely. What was once hidden will now be revealed. This is the moment where all things begin to make sense. The pain, the pauses, the pruning, the lessons learned in your wilderness were not wasted. They are the foundation of your wisdom. Every tear watered the soil of your breakthrough. Every setback cleared the path for your elevation. You were never losing time. Time was working for you. This is the nature of divine favor. It arrives when your heart and heaven come into alignment. The season of favor is not determined by external conditions, but by internal readiness. When your faith matures into trust, you no longer chase blessings. Blessings begin to chase you. You become magnetized to opportunity because your spirit now vibrates at the frequency of divine order. Look around you with new eyes. The very situations that once brought you pain are now revealing purpose. The people who walked away created space for those who are meant to walk in. The dreams that seemed to die are being resurrected with greater clarity and power. Nothing was lost. Everything was being rearranged for this divine unveiling. You are no longer waiting for your time. Your time has found you. Step boldly into this season. Expect doors to open with ease. Expect favor to follow your obedience. Expect restoration that exceeds your imagination. The weight you carried has turned into wings. The divine delay has ended, and the release has begun. You are standing in the manifestation of everything your faith has endured for. This is not coincidence, this is covenant. You have entered a divine season where grace works faster than effort, and where everything, without exception, begins to work in your favor. Faith is the bridge between promise and manifestation. It is the invisible path that connects what has been spoken by God to what will soon be seen in your life. Every promise exists already in spirit, waiting for your faith to bring it into form. Faith is not hoping that something might happen. It is the quiet inner conviction that it already has. It is the unwavering awareness that the word spoken over your life cannot return void. The moment you truly believe, the unseen world begins to respond, rearranging circumstances, people, and opportunities to fulfill your expectation. The universe is not random. It is responsive. It bends to the vibration of belief. The entire structure of reality is designed to reflect consciousness, and faith is the language that communicates with the divine order of creation. When you believe, you set in motion a process that cannot be seen with natural eyes, but is deeply felt in spirit. It is as though heaven and earth begin to collaborate to make what you hold within a living reality without. Every promise requires a bridge, and that bridge is built one thought at a time. Doubt tears down what faith constructs, but every moment you choose trust over fear, you lay another plank across the unseen divide. Faith transforms waiting into certainty, and uncertainty into peace. It allows you to rest before the miracle appears, because it knows that the outcome is inevitable. Belief is not passive, it is creative. It is the spiritual act of agreeing with divine truth until it becomes substance. When you hold an inner vision with unwavering faith, the outer world has no choice but to conform. Circumstances may resist for a time, but resistance only tests the strength of your conviction. Faith never looks to appearances for validation. It looks inward, where the promise is already alive. The moment you believe, something shifts in the atmosphere around you. People are moved into position. Conversations unfold at just the right time. Doors open where there were none before. You cannot see all the details, but the orchestration is perfect. What once seemed like coincidence is actually divine synchronization, responding to your inner state. The universe is listening to the song of your faith, and it echoes that melody back to you in form. Faith bridges the gap between what you have heard and what you will hold. It is not built in comfort, it is forged in uncertainty. When everything around you says impossible, faith whispers already done. It stands firm when logic fails, and it rejoices before evidence appears. So stand on the bridge with confidence. Let your heart rest in assurance that what was promised is already on its way. The same power that formed galaxies is working in your favor. The moment you believe, the universe reorganizes itself, and every element of creation begins to cooperate with your destiny. Faith does not wait for proof, it creates it. To receive before you see is the essence of true faith. It is the posture of a soul that no longer waits for visible evidence to believe in what God has already promised. Receiving from God is not an act of begging or striving, it is a state of being, a quiet inner knowing that what you have asked for is already accomplished in the unseen. To receive is to shift your awareness, to live mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in the reality of what is already yours, even before it takes shape in the physical world. Everything in creation begins in the invisible. The spiritual realm is the source, and the material world is the reflection. When you pray, you are not asking God to create something new, you are aligning yourself with what He has already prepared. The moment you ask in faith, it exists, but it exists first in spirit. Your role is not to wait anxiously for it to appear, but to dwell in the feeling of already having it. That feeling is the magnetic force that draws it into manifestation. To receive before you see is to act as if the promise has already been fulfilled. It means giving thanks before the answer arrives, celebrating before the victory is visible, and walking with confidence even when nothing seems to have changed. This is not self-deception, it is divine alignment. You are choosing to identify with the truth of what God has spoken, rather than the illusion of what your senses temporarily perceive. The physical world lags behind spiritual reality, but it must eventually catch up to what you consistently hold within. Your emotions are the signal you send to creation. When you feel joy, gratitude, and certainty as though the manifestation were already complete, you communicate faith to the universe. That faith becomes the bridge that allows the unseen to flow into the seen. The opposite is also true. When you dwell in fear, lack, or doubt, you delay what is already yours, because your emotional state contradicts the truth of abundance. To receive before you see is to let your inner world lead and your outer world follow. This is why gratitude is such a powerful force. Gratitude assumes possession. It says, "It is already mine." When you give thanks for what you cannot yet touch, you proclaim that you have received it in spirit, and the outer world is compelled to reflect that truth. Faith does not ask, when will it happen? Faith declares, it has happened, and I rejoice. Everything you desire already exists in a higher dimension, waiting for your recognition. The moment you accept it inwardly, the process of manifestation begins outwardly. You do not need to chase or convince, you only need to align and allow. When your mind and heart live in the reality of the fulfilled promise, you have already received. And soon, what you once believed in silence will appear before your eyes, not because it was newly created, but because you finally chose to see what had always been yours. You are the evidence of the move of God. You do not have to look to the sky for signs or wait for something dramatic to prove that heaven is working on your behalf. The proof is already within you. The change in your heart, the renewal of your mind, the quiet strength that now sustains you where fear once ruled. Transformation is not just a sign of divine activity, it is the move of God made visible through you. Every shift in your thinking, every release of bitterness, every rise in faith is heaven at work in human form. There was a time when you doubted, when you questioned if your prayers were heard, if your waiting had meaning. But look at you now, standing stronger, seeing clearer, loving deeper. That is not coincidence, that is evidence. The presence of peace in situations that once shook you, the confidence that replaces anxiety, the light that has returned to your eyes, all of it is the mark of divine movement. God's greatest miracles are often internal before they are external. Before He changes your surroundings, He transforms your perception. You are no longer the same person you were in your previous season. What used to break you now builds you. What used to scare you now strengthens you. This is what happens when heaven moves through a human life. It doesn't just alter circumstances, it awakens identity. The move of God begins as awareness. It is the realization that you are not separate from divine power, but an expression of it. The evidence is the expansion of your consciousness, the birth of compassion, the awakening of purpose. The world often looks for miracles in signs and wonders, but the greatest miracle is a changed heart. When love replaces anger, when peace conquers fear, when faith silences doubt, heaven has already touched earth. You are walking proof that divine grace is real. Every act of forgiveness, every moment of courage, every prayer whispered in trust becomes testimony that God is not distant. He is moving through you, shaping you from the inside out. Even when the outer world seems unchanged, the transformation within is announcing a new reality. You are becoming aligned with heaven's rhythm, and that inner harmony will soon manifest outwardly. The peace you now feel will attract peace around you. The clarity you now possess will order your steps. The strength you carry will manifest as success, restoration, and new beginnings. The outer expression always follows the inner transformation. So do not minimize what God is doing in you because it does not yet look spectacular to others. The quiet work of grace is the most powerful of all. You are becoming the living message that God is active, that redemption is possible, that light always wins. The shift within your spirit is the sound of heaven moving in your life. You are the evidence of divine reality unfolding, living proof that the move of God has already begun and that His favor is resting upon you now. Beloved, as we bring this message to a close, remember this truth. The move of God has already begun. You are not waiting for your season has found you. Every delay was preparation. every battle was training, and every prayer was planting a seed that is now bearing fruit. The unseen hand of God has been guiding every step, turning what once seemed like detours into divine direction. You are now walking in a flow where everything is aligning in your favor. The shift within you has unlocked the blessings around you. Faith has built the bridge. Your inner vision has shaped your reality, and your willingness to receive before you see has opened the door to manifestation. You are living proof that heaven is active, that miracles are real, and that divine timing is never late. So stand boldly in this moment. Let gratitude rise in your heart. Speak life over your destiny and walk with assurance that everything is working for your good. The evidence of God's move is not somewhere far away. It is within you, breathing, transforming, expanding. Thank you for joining in this message of faith and awakening. May you continue to walk in divine favor, see through the eyes of spirit, and live each day knowing that the move of God is alive in you, now and always. Each morning, before the noise of the world rushes in, heaven opens a quiet door before you. It whispers, "Come within." For the day ahead is not waiting to shape you. You are the one who shapes the day. When you awaken, do not reach first for your phone or your fear. Reach inward. In that still moment before the sun rises fully, declare this truth. Today, everything is moving in my favor because I am moving with God. The first thoughts you think in the morning are not small, they are seeds. Every emotion, every word, every silent belief you carry into the day becomes a law unto itself. You are never a victim of circumstance. You are the cause behind the circumstances you meet. If your morning begins with gratitude, your day will multiply it. If your morning begins with peace, your day will reflect it back. If your morning begins with divine awareness, all things will bend toward your good. God does not meet you in the outer world first. He meets you in consciousness. That moment of stillness, that whisper of faith, that inner knowing, that is where the day truly begins. When you say, "I am favored," heaven agrees. When you feel everything is aligning for my good, life begins to rearrange itself to match that feeling. For what you assume with conviction becomes the movement of divine law in your favor. Every obstacle becomes a servant. Every delay becomes direction. Every challenge becomes a channel for greater blessing because your consciousness has already decreed that all things are working together for good. So, start your morning with God, not as a ritual, but as recognition. Recognize that you and the divine are one. Recognize that favor is not something you chase. It is something you awaken within. When your thoughts are aligned with God's peace, doors will open where walls once stood. When your heart is set in gratitude, even silence will speak blessings. And when your faith holds firm in unseen goodness, the entire day will conspire to move in your favor. So, as you rise each morning, do not ask what the day will bring. Ask instead, what will I bring into this day? Bring light, bring faith, Bring the awareness that God goes before you and that no moment is without purpose. Because when you start your morning with God, truly start with Him, everything without exception will begin to move in your favor. Each morning carries within it a silent miracle. When the first light of dawn touches the earth, creation is renewed, not just outside in the world, but within you. The rising sun is not merely the start of another day, it is God's quiet invitation to begin again, to shape your reality with the thoughts you choose to dwell upon. Morning is the sacred threshold between what was and what can be, between the memory of yesterday and the possibility of today. In that stillness before the world awakens, heaven offers you a clean canvas, asking only one thing: what will you create today through your awareness? Every sunrise declares that God has not forgotten you. It is His reminder that life is not static, that no failure or disappointment of yesterday can imprison your spirit unless you permit it. As the light spreads across the sky, so does divine opportunity spread before your consciousness. What you think, feel, and imagine in those first moments of awakening carries extraordinary creative power. Before you speak to anyone, before you look at your messages or recall your problems, life gives you this sacred pause, the chance to align your inner world with divine intention. The morning holds a purity that no other time possesses. Your mind is unburdened, your spirit is soft, and your imagination is awake. Whatever you choose to plant in that tender soil of consciousness begins to take root immediately. If you begin your day with gratitude, you attract harmony. If you begin your day in complaint, you invite resistance. The universe mirrors the state of your inner being. That is why it is said that how you start your morning often determines how the rest of your day unfolds. Morning is the birthplace of your day's reality. This sacred beginning is not about rituals or routines alone. It is about awareness, about remembering that you are not separate from the source that sustains you. When you open your eyes each morning, remember that you are looking upon a world that will reflect whatever you assume to be true. To start your morning with God is to start it in harmony with the deepest truth of existence, that life responds to consciousness. Your peace becomes the pattern of your experience. Your faith becomes the law that shapes your circumstances. Your inner conversation with God becomes the blueprint of what unfolds before you. So, let the morning be holy to you. Let the rising sun remind you that you are co-creator with the divine. Before the duties and distractions of the day begin, pause to listen inwardly. Feel the quiet presence of God within you, not far away, but as your very breath, your awareness, your life. Choose thoughts that uplift, feelings that bless, and visions that expand your soul. Each morning is God's invitation to remember who you truly are, the vessel through which His favor flows, the consciousness through which new creation begins. When you honor the morning as sacred, the day bows to your awareness, and everything moves in your favor. Before the noise of the world enters your mind, there exists a sacred space within you, a silent temple where the voice of God still speaks. This is not a temple built with hands. It is an invisible sanctuary in your consciousness, a place where your spirit meets the divine in quiet communion. Each morning, before the demands of the day press upon you, you are invited to enter this inner temple, not with words alone, but with awareness. Be here. Silence is not emptiness. It is the fullness of divine presence waiting to guide, renew, and realign your life. The world begins its chatter early. It demands your attention through devices, responsibilities, and endless thoughts. But before you let the world speak to you, let your spirit speak first. In the quiet of the morning, when the mind has not yet been flooded with noise, you have the greatest opportunity to shape your reality. Prayer, stillness, and imagination are the keys that unlock this inner temple. Prayer lifts your consciousness toward God. Stillness clears the noise that blinds you to His presence. And imagination allows you to see the world as He intends, whole, perfect, and overflowing with favor. When you enter the inner temple, you are not escaping the world. You are aligning with the power that governs it. The silence within is not the absence of life. It is the heartbeat of creation itself. In that sacred quiet, you begin to sense divine order behind all things. Your fears lose their voice. Your confusion dissolves. And your heart begins to speak a language that words cannot carry. You realize that peace does not come from circumstances being perfect. It comes from your awareness of the divine within you being unshaken. Stillness is not passive, it is creative. The quiet mind becomes a womb of new beginnings. When you still your thoughts, you allow divine inspiration to move freely. In that space, ideas come, answers rise, healing flows, and guidance unfolds naturally. Through imagination, you begin to see yourself and your life as already blessed, already whole, already guided. You become the conscious vessel of divine favor, shaping your outer world through inner vision. In this sacred silence, prayer becomes more than asking. It becomes knowing. You are no longer pleading for God to move. You are recognizing that He already has, and you are now in harmony with that movement. The words you speak after such communion carry power, for they arise not from fear, but from faith. When you emerge from your inner temple, you do so clothed in peace, strength, and divine assurance. So, before the world rushes in with its noise and demands, close your eyes and enter that sacred stillness. Let your spirit speak first. Let prayer open your heart. Let stillness center your soul. And let imagination awaken your divine authority. For when you begin your day from the inner temple of silence, you no longer react to the world begins to respond to you. Every day begins as a blank canvas, and the first brushstrokes are your thoughts. The quality of your inner dialogue in the morning determines the rhythm of your day. When your thoughts are aligned with divine order, peace becomes your atmosphere, clarity becomes your guide, and favor becomes your natural flow. God has designed the mind to be a powerful creative instrument. What you dwell upon in consciousness begins to take form in your experience. That is why the morning is so crucial. It is the sacred moment when you decide whether to tune your inner world to harmony or to the noise of fear and distraction. To align your thoughts with divine order is to remember that there is an unseen intelligence governing all things. It is to acknowledge that your thoughts are not isolated. They are living currents that either move in harmony with divine purpose or against it. When you awaken and immediately fix your attention on problems, delays, or lack, you unconsciously invite those patterns to unfold throughout your day. But when you awaken and deliberately anchor your mind in gratitude, peace, and faith, you set in motion invisible forces. that align circumstances, people, and opportunities in your favor. Divine order is not chaos. It is perfect sequence. It means that everything unfolds in right timing and perfect alignment when your thoughts are in agreement with truth. Every morning you have the choice to surrender to divine order or to the disorder of the world. Surrendering to divine order does not mean becoming passive. It means trusting that life is moving for you, not against you. It means holding thoughts that uplift rather than deplete, seeing through eyes of faith rather than fear. When you dwell upon divine ideas, love, abundance, peace, strength, you invite those very qualities into your day. Thought is creative, and the universe mirrors what you sustain in awareness. If your inner dialogue begins with worry, the day will reflect tension. But if it begins with assurance that all things are working together for your good, everything will begin to shift to confirm that truth. The outer world simply responds to the vibration of your dominant thought. Aligning with divine order also requires stillness. Before speaking, before planning, take a few moments to center yourself in quiet awareness of God's presence. Whisper inwardly, "All is well. Everything is unfolding perfectly." Feel the truth of those words until peace fills your heart. That peace becomes your compass throughout the day. It directs your steps, guards your emotions, and keeps you balanced no matter what arises. Each morning, you are the architect of your experience. By aligning your first thoughts with divine order, you declare that your day is not random, but divinely guided. When your consciousness is ordered, your outer life naturally follows. The day bends toward your peace. Events rearrange themselves to serve your purpose. An unseen favor goes before you. Such is the power of a mind that begins each morning in alignment with divine order. There is a sacred moment each morning when the world is still half asleep and the air itself seems to breathe peace. It is in that gentle stillness that you can most easily sense the nearness of God. To feel the reality of His presence is not to imagine something distant or unreachable, but to awaken to what has always been within you. When you rise and begin your day aware of this oneness, life begins to move differently, doors open effortlessly, people respond with unexpected kindness, and situations that once felt heavy begin to unfold with divine ease. This is not coincidence. It is the natural result of living from the awareness that God is not outside of you, but within you, guiding every step you take. When you start your morning in oneness with God, you are not trying to summon His presence. You are recognizing that it never left. The sense of separation disappears and peace becomes your natural state. That inner harmony is what causes your outer world to align. For life is always mirroring your conviction. If you rise filled with worry, the day echoes confusion. But if you rise filled with faith and the quiet certainty that God is with you, everything begins to work in your favor. The world bends toward your inner certainty because consciousness is the true foundation of reality. Feeling the reality of God's presence means going beyond words. It is not about repeating prayers mechanically or hoping for comfort. It is about entering a state of awareness where you feel the divine life flowing through you. In that feeling, fear loses its grip, doubt fades, and peace takes root. The more you dwell in this awareness, the more natural it becomes. Soon you no longer seek signs or proof. The presence itself becomes the evidence. You begin to move through your day with quiet confidence, knowing that divine favor surrounds you in every moment. To feel God's presence is to rest in assurance, even when nothing outwardly seems to support it. It is to know that every challenge contains hidden grace and every delay carries divine timing. When you hold this inner conviction, life organizes itself according to your faith. Situations that once caused stress now reveal purpose. Relationships deepen, opportunities appear, and paths open that logic could not have predicted. The alignment happens not because you forced it, but because you harmonized with the divine order within. Each morning is an invitation to return to this awareness. Before the mind fills with tasks and concerns, pause and simply feel the life of God breathing through you. Say quietly, I am one with the presence that guides all things. Feel that truth rather than merely thinking it. Let it expand through your being until peace fills every corner of your heart. From that state, move into your day, knowing that you are never alone, never without guidance, never without favor. For when you start your morning in oneness with God, life itself begins to move in rhythm with your conviction, effortlessly, gracefully, perfectly. Faith is the invisible current that moves through all of life. You cannot see it with your eyes, yet it shapes the direction of everything you experience. It is the quiet power behind manifestation, the unseen hand that arranges circumstances, and the divine law that responds to belief. Faith is not merely hoping for something to happen, it is the deep inner knowing that it already has. It is the conviction that even when nothing outwardly seems to support your desire, the unseen world is already working to bring it forth. Each morning when you awaken, faith is waiting to be chosen. You can choose fear or you can choose trust. One aligns you with limitation, the other aligns you with divine flow. Faith does not demand that you understand how everything will unfold. It only asks that you believe that it will. When you start your day with faith, you release the need to control and instead allow the unseen forces of creation to move on your behalf. This invisible current carries you into alignment with the very things you desire. Faith is a creative energy. It gives shape to the unseen and calls into form that which has not yet appeared. Every thought you hold with conviction, every feeling you sustain in certainty, becomes a command to the universe. The moment you believe that all is working in your favor, life begins to reorganize itself around that truth. People, opportunities, and events shift in ways that seem mysterious, but they are simply responding to the vibration of your faith. The world obeys belief. The law of life is simple. What you believe in your heart becomes what you experience in your world. There are times when faith must stand against appearances. The outer world may seem silent, progress may appear slow, and prayers may feel unanswered. Yet it is in these moments that faith reveals its greatest power. Faith does not collapse under delay, it deepens. It continues to trust that divine timing is perfect, that unseen hands are still at work arranging what the eyes cannot yet see. To hold faith in the face of uncertainty is to align yourself with God's unchanging reality rather than the shifting illusions of circumstance. The invisible current of faith cannot be forced. It must be felt. It grows stronger the more you return to stillness, the more you speak words of assurance, the more you imagine outcomes rooted in peace rather than fear. Each time you affirm everything is working in my favor, you strengthen that current. You invite heaven to move through your affairs and to bring all things into divine order. Faith is not passive, It is the most dynamic force in creation. It moves mountains, softens hearts, opens paths, and restores what was lost. When you live from faith, you no longer chase outcomes. They begin to find you. So start your morning by stepping into that invisible current. Feel its strength beneath the surface of life. Trust it completely, and you will discover that creation always obeys the quiet, unwavering power of your belief. Every day is a mirror, faithfully reflecting the state of your inner world. Life does not randomly decide what kind of day you will have. It simply mirrors what you bring into it. The thoughts you hold, the emotions you cultivate, and the atmosphere you carry within yourself all echo back to you through the events, people, and experiences that unfold. This is why the morning is so sacred. It is the moment when you set the tone for what the mirror of the day will reveal. If you begin your morning in peace, gratitude, and divine awareness, those same qualities will follow you wherever you go, returning to you through every encounter. The outer world is not separate from your consciousness, it is shaped by it. Everything you experience has its roots in your inner vibration. When you wake up rushed, worried, or agitated, you unknowingly imprint that energy onto the canvas of the day. You find yourself meeting situations that seem chaotic or difficult, but they are only reflecting the disharmony you carried within. The moment you shift your inner state, the outer world begins to shift accordingly. This is the great secret of life. You do not have to fix the world. You have to align your consciousness, and the world will mirror that alignment. To begin the morning in peace is to plant the seed of divine order. When you wake and take a few moments to breathe deeply, to feel the quiet presence of God within you, and to affirm that all is well, you create a vibration that magnetizes harmony. Peace is not weakness, it is creative power. It draws to you experiences that match its frequency, gentle conversations, kind gestures, smooth paths, and unexpected blessings. You become a center of calm in a world that often rushes without awareness. The day will always mirror what you begin within. If your first thoughts are of gratitude, life will give you more to be grateful for. If your first words are of faith, you will see evidence of that faith everywhere you go. But if your morning begins in complaint, frustration, or doubt, the mirror cannot reflect anything different. The universe is impartial. It reflects consciousness with perfect accuracy. This is not punishment. It is divine justice in motion. It gives you complete creative authority over your experience. The most powerful way to shape your day is to master your inner state before the day begins. Enter the morning not as a reactor, but as a creator. Decide that peace will govern your thoughts, that love will guide your actions, and that faith will sustain your heart. Hold that awareness gently throughout the day, and you will see how effortlessly life bends to meet your intention. Situations that once would have disturbed you will lose their power, and challenges will reveal hidden blessings. The mirror of life never lies. It simply reflects the consciousness you carry. So start each morning in harmony with God, and the reflection you meet will be peace unfolding everywhere you go. When you begin each morning with God, in awareness, in stillness, and in faith, you awaken the divine power that shapes all things in your favor. Each sunrise becomes a reminder that life responds not to circumstance, but to consciousness. When your thoughts align with divine order, when your heart feels the reality of His presence, and when your faith becomes your unseen current, everything around you begins to reflect that inner harmony. The day, the people, and even the challenges transform, to serve your higher good. So let every morning be your sacred meeting place with God. Let prayer be your first word, peace be your first feeling, and faith be your first decision. As you move through the day, carry that awareness like light within you, calm, steady, and unshaken. You will find that doors open naturally, favor follows effortlessly, and life itself bends toward your peace. Thank you for taking this journey of reflection and awakening. May each new morning remind you of your divine partnership with God. Begin with Him, walk with Him, and end each day in gratitude. For when you start your morning with God, truly everything will move in your favor. Beloved, I want you to hear this clearly today. God is moving things in your favor. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. You may not yet see it with your eyes. You may not yet feel it with your hands. But if your heart is tuned right, the confirmations are already all around you. Life often whispers in subtle ways. A door opens unexpectedly. Someone shows up at just the right moment. An idea sparks in your mind that changes everything. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, is aligning circumstances in your favor. Understand this: favor is not earned by struggle alone. Favor is a reflection of your inner state. If you hold the feeling of having already received, if you live as though your desired outcome has already been realized, you are signaling to life that you are ready. And when you are ready, the world conspires to meet you. You might have faced setbacks. You might have wondered if your prayers or efforts are in vain. Let me tell you this: each obstacle you face is only a prelude to your confirmation. The very delay is preparation. The very challenge is positioning. God is not late. God is perfect in timing. Look for signs. They are everywhere. A repeated word, a sudden opportunity, a surprising conversation. These are confirmations that your dream is aligning with reality. When you notice these, do not dismiss them as coincidence. Receive them with gratitude and let them fuel your faith. And remember, favor is amplified through gratitude. When you are thankful not just for what you have, but for what is already yours in spirit, you magnetize more blessings. The feeling of gratitude pulls your desires from the invisible into the visible. So today, know this truth: the universe is conspiring for you. The forces of life are moving in your favor. Your dreams are not just possible, they are inevitable if you remain steadfast in faith and imagination. Live in the end, feel the victory, walk in the awareness of divine confirmation, and watch as the world rearranges itself to bless you beyond your imagination. This is your confirmation. God is moving things in your favor. Believe it, feel it, and receive it. True change in your life begins not with what you see, but with what you believe in the unseen. Most people wait for evidence, for circumstances to shift, for visible proof that their desires are attainable. But this is a reversal of the natural law. The world you experience is a reflection of your inner state. What you imagine, feel, and accept as real in your heart already exists in the realm of creation. Faith in the unseen is the invisible force that shapes the visible world. It is the recognition that what you cannot yet touch, see, or measure is no less real than what is right in front of your eyes. When you hold a vision with feeling, you are planting seeds in the fertile soil of your consciousness. These seeds grow silently, nurtured by your belief, until they manifest in your life as tangible reality. Your imagination is not a mere fantasy, it is the workshop of creation, and your feeling is the energy that fuels it. Every great invention, every breakthrough, every success story began as an unseen thought, a vision held with conviction, long before it became visible. When you understand this, you stop relying solely on external validation and start nurturing the invisible world within. Faith in the unseen requires patience and trust. It requires you to surrender the need for immediate evidence and to walk confidently in the reality you are creating internally. When you act as though your dreams are already true, your inner world aligns with the outer world. Circumstances shift, opportunities appear, and the world begins to conform to your inner assumption. The unseen is always at work, quietly orchestrating the events of your life in alignment with your inner belief. Doubt and fear are the greatest obstacles to this process. When you allow yourself to be swayed by what is lacking, by what seems impossible, you give power to the external world over your inner reality. Faith in the unseen is the refusal to be controlled by appearances. It is the steadfast belief that your imagination, infused with feeling, is a more trustworthy guide than the shifting circumstances around you. This faith is not passive, it is active and alive. It is cultivated through meditation, visualization, and the persistent assumption that what you desire is already yours. As you embrace faith in the unseen, you begin to notice subtle confirmations. Synchronicities appear, doors open, and life aligns in ways that seem miraculous. These are not accidents, they are the reflection of your inner state, the evidence of creation responding to your belief. When you live in this consciousness, you understand that your imagination is sacred, that your unseen thoughts are seeds of reality, and that the world you desire is already taking form within you. Faith in the unseen is the art of knowing without seeing, believing without proof, and creating without limits. It is the realization that your reality begins in the mind, grows in the heart, and manifests in life when you refuse to doubt the power of what is yet unseen. By holding your vision firmly with feeling and conviction, you become a co-creator with the infinite, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Whatever you assume to be true in your heart and mind becomes the foundation of your reality. Most people live at the mercy of appearances, allowing circumstances, other people, or past experiences to dictate what they believe is possible. But the truth is far deeper. Your outer world is a mirror of your inner convictions. Whatever you accept as real within yourself, whether consciously or unconsciously, inevitably manifests in your life. Your assumptions, those persistent beliefs and ideas you hold quietly in your heart, are the unseen architects of your destiny. To live consciously is to recognize that assumption is the secret language of creation. When you assume a state, an outcome, or a possibility as true in your imagination, you are planting it in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. The subconscious does not argue or negotiate. It accepts whatever you impress upon it and works tirelessly to bring it into your experience. Therefore, it is not circumstances, luck, or external effort that determines the outcome of your life. It is the inner assumption you persistently hold. Your outer world is simply the reflection of what you assume to be true within. Many people make the mistake of focusing solely on what they see. They wait for the evidence, the confirmation from others, or the shift in circumstances before they feel that something is possible. But this is a reversal of natural law. True power lies in assuming the state of having, being, or achieving before it appears in the physical world. When you hold a firm assumption in your heart, you are sending an unspoken command to life itself. If the universe is compelled to organize itself in accordance with that inner reality. The practice of inner assumption requires discipline and clarity. You must observe your thoughts and beliefs, distinguishing between those that serve your desired reality and those that reinforce limitation. When you catch yourself doubting or expecting lack, you must immediately replace it with the assumption of fulfillment. Live as though the reality you desire already exists. Feel it in every fiber of your being. Speak as if it is already true. Move as though it has already manifested. In doing so, your outer world cannot help but conform to this inner state. Time, space, and external conditions are no obstacle to this truth. Inner assumption transcends what is visible and tangible. Even when circumstances appear contrary, the one who assumes correctly in their heart is never discouraged, for they understand that the world is an echo of the mind. Synchronicities, opportunities, and seemingly miraculous events are drawn to those who persist in the assumption of their desired state. Life itself bends to the steadfast convictions of the mind. The law is simple. Whatever you assume to be true in your mind and heart manifests in the world. If you wish to change your circumstances, you must first change your assumptions. If you desire favor, abundance, or joy, you must assume them inwardly with conviction. Your life will always reflect your inner world. Everything you see around you was first imagined, first assumed, first believed. When you take responsibility for your inner assumptions, you step into the true power of creation, and reality itself begins to align with your vision. There is a rhythm, a higher order at work in the unfolding of your life, and it is what we call divine timing. Many of us grow impatient when things do not happen according to our personal schedules. We measure success and progress by the ticking of the clock, by deadlines and immediate results. But true understanding comes when you realize that life is orchestrated according to a perfect, unseen intelligence, one that is infinitely wiser than any human plan or desire. Every event, every encounter, every seeming delay has its place within this higher order, and nothing occurs outside of it. Divine timing is not a delay, it is preparation. What may appear as a setback or a pause is often the careful alignment of circumstances, people, and opportunities to ensure that the outcome is perfect for your highest good. When you trust in this timing, you begin to see that what arrives at the right moment has far more power, impact, and fulfillment than what arrives according to impatience or haste. Life, when allowed to unfold in its natural rhythm, brings not only the right results, but the most harmonious ones. Impatience is the enemy of divine timing. When you try to force outcomes or rush processes, you interfere with the natural orchestration of events. It is like trying to accelerate the growth of a tree by pulling at its branches. The effort only disrupts what is meant to develop organically. Trust in the unseen intelligence behind your life. Trust that everything you need, every opportunity you require, and every blessing meant for you is being carefully arranged and will arrive exactly when it is meant to. Signs of divine timing often appear in subtle ways. A meeting that was postponed unexpectedly, a door that opens just after you have released your worry, a word or insight that comes precisely when it is needed. These are confirmations that the universe is aligning itself in your favor. These moments are never accidental, they are the echoes of divine orchestration, reminders that timing is never random. Even when the world seems chaotic or uncertain, the underlying order of life is always working to bring your desires to fruition. To live in alignment with divine timing requires faith and patience. It requires you to cultivate an inner stillness and confidence that all is working together for your good. It means letting go of the illusion of control and recognizing that your part is to imagine, assume, and act in faith, while the universe coordinates the perfect circumstances. When you surrender to divine timing, you no longer measure success by immediate results, but by the certainty that your reality is being shaped by forces far greater than your comprehension. Understanding divine timing transforms the way you experience life. You learn to see delay as preparation, setbacks as guidance, and waiting as a sacred alignment of events in your favor. When you trust in this perfect timing, life itself becomes your ally, and every event, no matter how small or seemingly inconvenient, is a step toward the fulfillment of your highest desires. Nothing is late, nothing is wasted, and everything is working for you. Life is constantly speaking to you, but most people fail to hear its subtle language. The universe communicates not always through loud announcements, but through quiet whispers, small coincidences, and gentle nudges that confirm you are moving in the right direction. These confirmations are signs that your inner state, your assumptions, and your intentions are aligned with your highest good. They may appear as unexpected opportunities, recurring patterns, sudden insights, or seemingly random events that, upon closer inspection, carry profound meaning. To recognize these signs is to live in harmony with the flow of life and to understand that you are never alone in your journey. Confirmation through signs requires awareness. When you slow down and observe the events around you, you begin to notice patterns that reveal the invisible hand of divine orchestration. A chance meeting may provide exactly the information you needed. A repeated number may appear at precisely the right moment, or an idea may come to you suddenly that shifts the course of your actions. These are not accidents or random occurrences. They are messages from the universe affirming that your inner beliefs are resonating with reality. Every small synchronicity is a reminder that the world mirrors your inner state and that your thoughts and assumptions are already manifesting in the external world. It is also important to understand that signs often appear in subtle ways, requiring faith and sensitivity to perceive them. They rarely arrive with fanfare. Often, a gentle feeling, a sudden thought, or a fleeting moment of recognition carries far more significance than the obvious or expected. By paying attention to these signals, you train yourself to trust the guidance of life itself. You begin to realize that each step you take, each decision you make, is supported and confirmed by an intelligent universe that seeks to bring your desires into manifestation. Repeated opportunities are particularly powerful as signs. When circumstances, people, or ideas keep returning to your life, they are signals that your inner assumption is being validated. These repetitions are confirmations that your path is aligned, that you are prepared to receive, and that the universe is responding to your persistent faith. Ignoring them is to overlook the guidance that is freely available to you. Accepting them, however, strengthens your confidence and reinforces your understanding that life is working on your behalf. Inner nudges, the quiet intuitions that arise from within, are equally significant. They are the voice of your higher self, pointing you toward action that aligns with your ultimate good. When you act upon these inner promptings, you are participating in the co-creation of your reality, moving in synchrony with forces far greater than your conscious mind alone can orchestrate. To live attuned to these confirmations is to walk with trust, gratitude, and awareness. Each sign, each synchronicity is a divine signal that your life is unfolding perfectly, that you are on the right path, and that your desires are already taking form in the invisible. When you recognize and embrace these confirmations, you strengthen your faith, accelerate your manifestation, and live in the constant awareness that life itself is conspiring for your success. Living in the end is the art of embodying the reality you desire before it appears in the physical world. Most people wait for circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel fulfilled, to feel victorious, or to feel blessed. But this is a misunderstanding of how creation works. The external world is always a reflection of the internal state. To change your life, you must first live from the place of having already achieved your desire. When you imagine and feel the end result as real now, you are planting the seed of manifestation in the fertile soil of your consciousness. And the universe cannot help but bring it into your experience. To live in the end means to occupy the mental and emotional state of the fulfilled self. If your desire is abundance, do not wait for abundance to appear before feeling grateful. Feel it now. If your desire is recognition, act with the confidence, poise, and authority of the person who has already been recognized. If your desire is health, happiness, or favor, inhabit that state fully in your mind and emotion. The outer world responds not to your hopes or wishes, but to the reality you assume within. The act of living in the end is not fantasy, it is deliberate creation. Feeling is the engine of manifestation. Thought alone is limited, it is the combination of thought and feeling that gives birth to reality. When you live in the end, you immerse yourself in the emotional experience of already having what you desire. You see, hear, and feel it as though it is present. And in doing so, you impress it upon your subconscious mind. Your subconscious does not know the difference between what is imagined with feeling and what is physically experienced. It accepts your inner state as absolute reality and sets into motion the events, circumstances, and opportunities necessary to reflect it outwardly. Living in the end also requires consistency and faith. It is not enough to occasionally imagine or feel your desire. You must persist in that inner state regardless of what appears outside. Circumstances may seem contrary, and yet the one who lives in the end remains unwavering, knowing that the external world is merely a reflection in progress. Time, space, and apparent delay cannot alter the reality already assumed within. The feeling of fulfillment, victory, and blessing is your compass, guiding you through appearances until the external world catches up with your inner truth. Until this practice transforms the way you experience life. No longer are you at the mercy of events, waiting for external validation. Instead, you are the sovereign creator, defining reality from the inside out. By living in the end, you align yourself with the invisible forces that orchestrate all creation. Your actions, words, and choices naturally flow from the state of fulfillment. And this congruence accelerates the manifestation of your desires. To live in the end is to declare to the universe, I am already there. I am already blessed. I am already victorious. It is to carry the feeling of your fulfilled desire in your heart, in your mind, and in your actions every day. When you do this, the world cannot resist reflecting back to you the reality you have already assumed. Living in the end is the secret of all manifestation, the bridge between imagination and reality, and the path to experiencing your desires as though they are already yours. Gratitude is the invisible force that magnifies your blessings and accelerates the manifestation of your desires. Many people mistake gratitude for a polite acknowledgement or a fleeting feeling of thanks. True gratitude, however, is a deep, conscious recognition of the presence of abundance, favor, and opportunity in your life. It is the acknowledgement that all you desire is already in motion, even if it has not yet appeared in your external circumstances. And when you cultivate this state, you harmonize yourself with the creative forces of the universe, and your life begins to reflect the richness of that awareness. To express gratitude is to affirm the reality of what is coming. When you feel grateful for the fulfillment of your desires before they appear, you are sending a powerful signal to the subconscious mind. The subconscious cannot distinguish between what is imagined with feeling and what is experienced physically. It accepts the emotion of gratitude as proof that the desired outcome is already true. By living in this state, you create a magnetic field that draws the necessary people, circumstances, and opportunities to you. Gratitude is not passive, it is an active, creative force that multiplies your blessings and aligns your life with divine favor. The power of gratitude lies in its ability to shift your focus from lack to abundance. Most individuals are trapped in the mindset of scarcity, constantly measuring what they do not have rather than what is already theirs. Gratitude reverses this pattern. It draws your attention to the countless ways in which life is already providing for you, reminding you that you are supported by an infinite intelligence. As you focus on these gifts, your vibration rises, and the universe responds in kind. The very act of being thankful changes your inner state, and your outer world mirrors that state, bringing more of what you are grateful for into tangible reality. Gratitude also opens the door for unexpected favor. When you live in a state of appreciation, opportunities arrive that you could not have anticipated. Doors that seemed closed suddenly swing open. Solutions emerge where problems once stood, and people appear who carry exactly what you need. These blessings are amplified because gratitude creates a receptivity within you, a readiness to receive. It is the acknowledgement of unseen support and the recognition that life itself is conspiring to bring your desires to fruition. Practicing gratitude daily strengthens this power. Take time to thank life for what is present and for what is on its way. Speak it, write it, and feel it deeply. Thankfulness transforms your mental and emotional landscape into fertile ground for creation. Each expression of gratitude, no matter how small, builds momentum, reinforces your inner assumption, and accelerates the unfolding of your dreams. Gratitude is not just an attitude, it is a creative principle. It is the acknowledgement of favor that already exists, and the conscious invitation for more to flow into your life. By embracing gratitude as a way of being, you align yourself with the currents of abundance and favor, allowing life to move seamlessly in your direction. The more grateful you are, the more the universe mirrors that state, confirming that favor is not just possible, it is inevitable. As we draw this message to a close, I want you to carry this truth with you. God is moving things in your favor. Every delay, every challenge, every moment of uncertainty is part of a divine orchestration that is aligning circumstances perfectly for your highest good. Your faith in the unseen, your inner assumptions, your patience with divine timing, your awareness of signs, your ability to live in the end, and your practice of gratitude are not just principles, they are the very keys to unlocking your blessings and manifesting your desires. The universe is always responding to the state you occupy within. Live as though your dreams have already come true. Feel them, believe them, and watch life mirror the reality you hold in your heart. The confirmations are around you. Small synchronicities, repeated opportunities, and gentle nudges, all signaling that the favor of God is flowing toward you. Walk forward with confidence, knowing that you are supported, guided, and favored. Trust the process, honor the unseen, and continue to act from the place of victory. Your life is being arranged for your greatest good, and every step you take in faith brings you closer to the fulfillment of your desires. Thank you for allowing me to share this message with you today. May it strengthen your faith, ignite your imagination, and remind you that your confirmation has already come. God is moving things in your favor.